Welcome to Living Legacy Leadership, where we explore, discover, and share insights, tools, and strategies for a life well lived into elderhood. I'm your host, Donna Kim Brand, author, speaker, legacy strategy coach, and creator of the concept Living Legacy, where you choose to live life on your own terms while contributing to people, places, and projects along your life journey. I believe that the life you live is the legacy you leave. Now, the guests I bring to you each week all address some unique aspect of learning, leadership, or legacy. This helps you raise your own game as a leader in business and life, and also showcases some extraordinary people who exemplify living legacy leadership. At least once a month, I also offer a training session to skill you in game changer thinking for your own application. So get your notebook ready or sharpen up your memory by tuning in your attention, and we'll dive right in. Well, we could start the music and the maracas right now because I am bringing you all the way from Mexico, beachside, one Claudia Holcomb. She comes from a corporate background with the background in business and economics, even an executive MBA, and specialized in change management. And she has moved into the realm of being a barefoot consultant, independent certified coach, where she's working with people in transition. So welcome, Claudia Holcomb.
Thank you, Donna. It's great to be here today.
Thank you. Well, I love it. You know, when I receive things from you, because I have worked with Claudia as a coach, the thing that struck me is the first thing that came across was your belief that your life is fantastic. And how many of us want that for ourselves? That's what we live for, right? People want to have a fantastic life. It's everybody's dream. So give us a little bit of your story, how you went from, I don't know if you were a corporate cubicle dweller, and, you know, now you're living on the beach in Mexico and doing freelance coaching. So just share a little bit of your journey.
Great. I'd be happy to do that. So I spent 25 plus years career corporate climbing the corporate ladder, you know, executive stuff at AT&T. I coached executives. I got an early retirement and then consulted for some companies in New York City. And when I decided not to do that anymore, I started trading on the stock market. And all of that was pretty successful. If you can tell, I don't sit still very well. So at that point, though, I tried traditional retirement, golf, mahjong, you know, whatever. And no surprise, I got bored again. So I decided to start freelancing online. And I love to research. You know, somebody asked me a question. It's all I can do not to pick up my phone and find the answer right that minute. So I thought that would be a fun thing for me to do, and started down that path when we still lived in the U.S. And then, you know, we had what I call a what's next moment. That's kind of my tagline thing now, is what's next? So a few years ago, my husband and I had one of those moments. He was in corporate and absolutely hated his job. He would come home almost every day and say, "Can I quit?" I'm like, no, sorry. And I'd retired several times, and as I said, was freelancing. So, you know, we decided this just didn't work anymore. This was not a life that we loved. You know, we'd built our quote unquote dream house and had a great 10 years there, but it was time to do something else. So we decided to move to Mexico, where we could afford for him to retire at the ripe young age of 53. So it, well, I actually retired the first time, I think, at 47, which was a lot of fun. But anyway, yeah, well, but then I kept working. You know, that's when I started all of the consulting. So there's a long version to this story, which I won't bore everybody with, but it took about a year and a half to plan this all out and figure out where we were going to go and get visas. And he's from Mexico, so it was a whole process just for him to get his.
Yeah, I was going to ask you why Mexico, and
yeah, he's lived in the States since he was 15, but was born in Mexico City and has family here. And there's so many great communities in Mexico where there's a large expat community. where you can move. And, I was a rebel. I took French, and then married a Mexican. So, yeah, I still have a lot of work to do on my Spanish. But, there are so many great places to go. And we knew some people where we ended up, which was in San Miguel de Allende. And yeah. So anyway, we sold our house, we sold both of our cars, we sold 98%, sold or gave away 98% of our worldly possessions, loaded up our single engine airplane with our 2 little dogs in the back seat, and off we flew to Mexico.
And wait a minute, you flew your own plane to Mexico?
Yes, we did.
Are both of you pilots?
We are. I've been flying for 23 years. I've had my license for 23 years. My husband, he got his license sort of out of self-defense, I guess, in a way to say. We have other friends who are pilots. And as soon as I got my license, my friend Jane said to him, "You have to take pinch hitter lessons," which is what they call flying from the right seat. So, in like in a car in the United States, right, the pilot sits in the left seat, passenger or co-pilot in the right seat. So, she was like, if anything were to ever happen to me when we were up flying, that way he would know how to fly and land the airplane. Even if somebody had to kind of talk him through it. Anyway, he got enough of a bug that he went ahead and got his license. So, yeah. And it was quite an adventure because we flew from Oak Island, North Carolina on the coast to Americus, Georgia for fuel, to Slidell, Louisiana to spend the night, to Southwest Houston Airport the next day, where we met up with our mountain flying instructor because we had never flown in the mountains. So we had Rusty, our instructor, flew with us from Houston to McAllen, where we did all of our planning and everything. And then the next day, we flew basically to San Miguel de Allende over lots of big mountains that were very scary.
Boy, wow. And did the guide go with you at that point, or had you left?
Yes. No, he came with us. He's a mountain flying instructor. And he lived in San Miguel. So we found him through friends. Yeah, we found him through some friends because we were going to sell the airplane. We just figured there's no way we can fly this airplane in those mountains. So anyway, yeah, Rusty. So I got real-time mountain flying instruction all the way. It was great. And then we continued to do, more work with him after we were there. But yeah, the 3 of us and our 2 little dogs in the back. And off we went on the adventure of a lifetime.
So and it's amazing already. I mean, my hair is standing up just to listen to you. And, a combination of how early in your career, you obviously are an early and achiever and high achiever and, ambitious because you just keep doing one thing after another and doing everything to a high level of quality and distinction and excellence. But I did say in the intro, you live on the beach in Mexico. Now, San Miguel's not the beach. So
that's true. That's true. Yes.
San Miguel to where you are now.
Well, San Miguel was our first pick because there are lots of expats. There's a lot of English spoken there. And even my husband hadn't lived in Mexico in decades. And his family, who lives in Mexico, would tease him all the time that he spoke high school Spanish. So we figured it was San Miguel. We knew some people there. We'd been there. Well, we actually told people we were moving there and we'd never been there. That's kind of how adventuresome we are.
Place, yeah.
So we did go once for 10 days before we made the final decision. But, we had some friends there that we'd met. We'd been there once. It is an amazing place to live, actually. But we decided that would be a good transition city for us. We'd also never lived at 6,000 feet. I'd always lived pretty much at sea level. So that's where we started. We found a house to rent for a year, and then another place because it's high desert and it's very dry and dusty in the wintertime. And my husband's allergic to dust.
Oh,
So our first winter there, there were 3 months he basically didn't want to go out of the house. It was so bad. And so we just figured out, okay, well, this was fun, but this isn't going to work. So our initial plan was to just spend a couple of months at the beach and then go back. And it's just not how it worked out. The adventure led us to live at the beach. So now we are living in Mazatlan, Mexico, on the west coast of the Mexico mainland, in a condo right on the beach. And we'll be here for 18 months. And then, sometime before that 18 months is over, we'll decide whether this is it or whether we're going to go live someplace else.
wow. A woman on the move. And in fact, that's exactly what you help other people with. So you're kind of leading the charge with your own life as a kind of experiment, but I don't mean superficial kind of experience. You dig in your midst, seems, into every experience you have. So talk about then how you move from kind of general freelancing into coaching people in transition.
Yeah, I was doing some freelancing. I'm like, oh well, this is kind of fun. And then, it's funny. Colleagues and friends of mine would always tell me, that I'd missed my calling. That I could see things that they couldn't see and help them get on track to accomplish what they were trying to do. Whether it was something big in their career, or I remember my flight instructor saying, gosh, could I take you out for sushi? I need you to help me figure out how in the world I'm going to pull off Christmas this year. And I took Linda through a whole process I call planning from the future. So anyway, I decided to trust my friends and colleagues. And when I was offered an opportunity to go through a rigorous training program to become a certified coach to help other freelancers, I said yes. And I had coached before in corporate and in some other training programs that I had taken, and I absolutely love it. I absolutely love helping people realize their greatness and see what skills they have that they can't see in themselves, and help them on a path to achieve what they want to achieve. And it's not freelancing for everybody, although, for many people, that's, even for me, that we were financially in great shape, but having freelancing as a part-time job, I guess I'll call it, when we moved to Mexico, just gave me so much comfort to know that I didn't have to depend on my retirement or savings, that I could make some extra income and keep my brain active and have some fun at it. And, I find more and more people that I meet don't really want to retire in the traditional sense. Like me, they'll get bored, or they're worried about dementia, and they think keeping their brain active will help. So, I help people who want to do that, and I do that by streamlining the process because it can be a little frustrating, and
So
try.
kind of when they come to you, what are they asking you to do for them? Or do you lay out your program that you just mentioned that you streamline, and they say, yeah, that's a match with me? Or does it work both ways?
It works both ways. I was certified by Barefoot Consultants, but I don't work for Barefoot Consultants. I'm an independent coach. So sometimes there are people who are referred to me through Barefoot Consultants, and they've bought a particular program. And one of those is one where a coach helps this person, this freelancer, write their profile for an online platform, because it's just different. The whole online platform freelancing thing is nothing like anything anybody's ever experienced in the traditional work world. And people just find it frustrating. So that's one way that I help people, is if they come to me and want me to help them write their profile, which I actually write for them. And then I also have people contact me directly. And sometimes